Hi, this is Savannah Summers, and you're watching Loudmouth Presents Off the Top Rope.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the next episode of Loudmouth Presents Off the Top Rope with the Princess of Australia, Adelaide's crown jewel, Savannah Summers. Savannah, how are you doing, my dear?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
Before we go on, I want to talk about the 25th of January because for some people who don't know, Pro Wrestling South Australia had an event there, and you had a pretty rough ride during that match.
Yes, I did. We had our first show back of the year, and I took on one of the rookies. It was her debut match, and it didn't really go to plan. Let's put it that way.
Well, I want to talk specifically about that, and for the viewers who haven't seen it, go check out PWSA's Facebook page, because you'll see one of the videos there. You're on the second rope, and I want to say a hip toss.
Oh yeah, I think it was sort of just like it was. I'm really not sure. She just grabbed me and threw me down.
Yeah, here's the thing. Here's the thing that bothered me about that, though. Those chairs didn't move. They did. Chairs are supposed to fall in and things like that, and those chairs just didn't move. And it wasn't the move.
No.
Chairs stayed there. I was like,
it was bad. And not only that, one of the chairs had already been broken and it was missing the seat. So I still set it up because I was like, nope, I'm still going to put it in there. And then I got thrown through and my leg went straight through that chair because it had no seat. So my leg was stuck in that one and the rest of me just on top of the other three chairs.
Yeah, like I said, the visuals, how we're describing it here, it probably doesn't do it justice. If guys go and take a look at the video, I've seen some pretty gnarly stuff because I watch Japanese death matches and things like that. But that one made me go.
Yes, there was a few other spots as well that I haven't posted that were also not so pleasant. So yeah, that wasn't the only one.
All right. Well, let's talk a bit about Australian wrestling now, because you're the envy of the wrestling world at the moment, because a lot of companies, I'm talking about hundreds of companies, are not running shows at the moment. But you're gracious enough to not only running Riot City Wrestling, but Pro Wrestling South Australia as well. And man, people are looking at that and like, oh man, I wish I could wrestle.
Yes, I know. We have been super lucky. We did have some periods where everything got shut down, but luckily in Adelaide, it's a bit smaller and we've been able to stop all the borders, block everything and keep everything pretty under control. And as soon as they got it back under control, we were allowed to do shows again, still with restrictions. We still have, limited numbers, social distancing, but a show's a show. We don't care if we can't have as many people or we can't have a big venue. It's just nice to be able to get in the ring. And I have been able to do that a lot and it's been great.
Yeah. And speaking of that specifically, I want to talk about the boom that Australian wrestling is going through at the moment, because in NXT, you've got Tony Storm, you've got Indy Hartwell. On WWE, you got the Iconics and things like that, and you've wrestled most of them, if not all of them.
Yes.
That for me, what is going on in wrestling in Australia at the moment, specifically with the women, because there's some good quality coming out there.
I just think that we're really lucky down here. We get a lot of support. A lot of the men really get behind us and help us. I don't feel like we have a lot of the companies, trying to hold us back. They're happy to get us out there and show the world what we've got and really push us to our limits. It's not, restricted matches because we're women. It's not, you can only wrestle the women because you're women. They're very great at giving us diversity over here and letting us experiment with everything. And I think that really gets the women to another level and helps get recognized around the world. We've had a lot of women earlier that have come through that have really opened those doors for all the new girls that are coming in. So it's a lot easier for those women to be seen and to get their names out there, which really, really helps. So no, we're very lucky.
When you say, you know, you can use the word trailblazers or pioneers or whatever you want to use them. They're all accurate. Do you include yourself in that as well? You know, having matches with all these girls and
absolutely. I'd like to think so. I don't like to talk about my age, but I am a lot older than most of the new like girls coming through. And I would say like myself and your Madison Eagles, we've been around for, you know, 15 plus years in the Australian wrestling industry. And now we have all these women coming through. When we first started, there really wasn't anyone. It was like the two of us. There was a couple others like Vixen and Michelle, and that's about it. And over the years, we've been able to get our names out there and learn what to do and how to network. Now, luckily, for the girls coming through, we can show them the way. Whereas when we first started, we didn't have that. We were just winging it and making it up as we went. So,
okay. All right. Now, 2017, you came to South Africa and you competed with CPW at the Arnold Classic. How was your South African experience for the viewers out there?
It was the best. It was probably my favorite experience so far traveling overseas. The people there were just amazing and treated me like family from the very beginning. Opened arms, like they were just amazing and made me feel very comfortable. To be fair, I was pretty like scared going over and like not knowing anybody. So it was lovely, the experience I had. And even just being part of the Arnold Classic, we got to hang out for 3 days and just experience all the different like activities and everything going on there. That was the best. And then to top it off, we got to wrestle at the end and it was amazing. I had a blast. I would definitely recommend it to anyone else, and I would definitely come back again any day.
Well, you kind of got unfinished business there because your South African debut didn't go as well as planned. You were actually lucky though, because you got to see all the sports and things like that. I had to actually work for a living, so it wasn't like I could sit down there and go and watch the fencing or anything like that. I had to work.
I was so lucky, and even got to meet Arnold himself, got to shake his hand, got some photos. I mean, that is a memory that will, you know, stay with me forever. And my friends are still jealous that I got to do that. So yeah, it was great.
Now on meeting Arnold there, were you tempted to do like a little bit of an accent? Because I know he came up to you and went, how are you? And you were like, I'm fine, how are you?
No, never. I was just like, I think I was just in awe the whole time, and that I actually got to touch him and shake his hand. I think I'm lucky I didn't pass out.
Okay, well, it would have been a far trip, because I mean, we were absolutely mobbed by people there. I mean, it was absolutely
crazy. Yeah, it was, but so much fun.
Okay, so South Africa is definitely on the list of to do again. I got that. I got that one for you. I was speaking to, I spoke to Jazzy Gabbard as well. I uploaded her video last week. She actually turned around and said, you know, she would recommend anybody to come to South Africa and wrestle at CPW and things like that. So definitely something to put a caveat in there and get you back. With regards to which one is more your spiritual home, Pro Wrestling South Australia or Riot City Wrestling?
Riot City Wrestling. I've been with them from the inception, so they've been around, I think, 16 years this year, and I've been with them from the very beginning. So they're definitely like my baby. They're my home base. But basically any wrestling in South Australia, I will get behind. I love. We're lucky we have quite a few companies at the moment, and I've done so much with Riot City that I really have started branching out, and that's why I've been working with PWSA pretty solidly for the last 2 years. And it's great. I feel like I have a lot more freedom there, a lot more, I can do. So I'm really enjoying working with them.
Right. Okay. And if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, you've been the women's champion at Ryan City Wrestling 3 times, 4 times?
3 times.
Not
to be 4.
Soon to be 4. Okay. Now, you were mentioning just before we started recording about your show on the weekend.
Yes, so this weekend we're doing a beer and barbecue festival. So it's 2 days and it's like wrestling like non-stop, but it's actually bucketing down at the moment. So it's meant to be an outdoor event. It's going to be interesting because I think we might be wrestling in the rain.
Well, will that be your first experience wrestling in the rain?
I have wrestled in the rain, but not heavy rain, like light, just a little bit. It's not too bad. But the last 2 days, it has been heavy, heavy rain here. And they reckon tomorrow's going to be the same. Maybe not Sunday, but tomorrow's going to be very wet. Right. So it's going to be interesting.
Right. Okay. I got to give you a tip. We wrestled in the rain in one of the shows here. And
okay.
I just want to give you a tip. If you're gonna run, try not to slide, because when the canvas gets wet, you slide a lot. And when you finish,
I didn't think of that.
When you finish,
this could be dangerous.
Yeah, and when you finish, you go for your hot shower and things like that, and you realize you've got ring rash all over your arms and legs without even noticing it. And then you look and your forearms are bloody red. You're like, where the hell did this come from? So,
yes, it's going to be an experience.
Yeah, professional tip from the loudmouth: elbows and knees cover up. If you don't wear knee pads, wear knee pads.
Okay, I will.
Right.
Thank you for the advice. Thank you.
Now we on off the top rope. We try and do a little not controversy per se, but we try and get into the minds of the people that I'm interviewing. Those 5 names that I mentioned the Iconics, Billy Kay and Peyton Royce, and I mentioned India Hartwell, and I mentioned Tony Storm. And out of those 4, I don't know if I mentioned another one. We'll take those 4. Okay. Which one did you think? Oh, and Rhea Ripley, I beg your pardon. Which one of those 5, can you rank them from 5 to 1? 5 being the one that, it needs a bit of work, and 1 being the one that's got the rocket ship strapped to the moon.
Okay. From 5, so 5 being I don't want to say the worst, the least.
5 being the most that needs development, and number 1 meaning, that's the polished gem. It's fine. You don't need to touch the product.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna say number 5. I'll put Indy Hartwell. She's great. I love her. I've wrestled her plenty of times. We had a tables match once. I love her, but she's still very young, and she's obviously in NXT. I'm really happy that she's getting a good viewing. She's in the tag team tournament at the moment, and she's doing really well. And I think she's getting a good gimmick, good character over. But I would have to put her down the end for now. I think, she'll get there, but
sure.
Give her some time. 4, I'm gonna say Peyton Royce. Okay. I love Peyton, and everyone always wants to put her right at the top. And I love her, I do. But for me, and I've wrestled her, and she's great to wrestle, and she's a lovely girl. But I just feel like character-wise, I just don't really get that connection from her sometimes. Sure. When I'm watching her. I feel like she's very generic with just wrestling, and I feel like she needs a little bit of pizzazz or something. And I feel like Billy helped her with that. Yeah. Billy's amazing character and helped her with that pizzazz. And now that they're not together, I feel like I'm just not feeling it. She just needs something, a little bit of extra, right. Okay. Number 3, I'll say, I'm going to be controversial, and I'm just going to say Rhea Ripley. I love Rhea as well. I basically, brought her through Riot City Wrestling with me. I was like, me and her wrestling all the time.
Yes.
And she's amazing. Like, she's probably the best wrestler out of them all. But I guess as the same sort of thing, the gimmick for me, it's not really my type of thing, but
Sure.
she's doing amazing with it. And I know she does it to stand out. She wants to be different. And I think it works for her. So I think that's good.
Okay.
And I think she's going to do all the things as well. She's already been NXT Women's Champion, UK NXT Champion, and I think she will probably take all the belts and do all the things.
Right.
So, she's great. But I'll put her at 3.
Okay.
For 2, I'd say Billie Kay, because I love Billie. She's amazing. I just love her character, and I know she's not as amazing a wrestler as some of the others, but I am so entertained watching her. I watched her in the Rumble just on the weekend, and she made me cry. So when you can draw me in like that and make me really enjoy what I'm watching and get really excited about it, to me, that's a lot of wrestling as well. Wrestling's not all about skill. And I love her, and she's adorable, and I love Billie. And then number 1, I'll say Toni Storm. I love Toni. She's my girl. When we did the tryout together, we shared a room, so we go way back, and I love what she's doing. I think she's going about it in a good way. She's kind of steady build, not just rocket launch to the stars. And I think that's better. You will have more longevity. I think she's already done the NXT UK. Now she's in NXT. I think she'll slowly do her thing there and then slowly move to the main roster. And I think she'll just be amazing the whole way. Right. And I love it.
Okay. That's perfect. Thank you very much.
That's all right. No problem.
Do you think now this is also one of those topics where a lot of people have got a lot of opinions on. Do you think they broke up the Iconics too soon?
No.
Wow. Okay.
that sounds really bad. I think that they deserve some time apart. And as much as I love them together, because they're my girls and they love each other, they're best mates, and I know that, like, that's true. But I just think they can both do so much on their own, and they have already done so much together. I just think, like, Billie Kay is like my age. I think she's like only a year or 2 younger than me. She needs to, be on. Nothing has kind of happened with it. Yes. I still am hopeful that it will pay off in the long run.
Right, because as in terms of the ladies in WWE, I don't think they get the good storylines. There's so much more that they can do with them, but it's starting to get there. But one of the dog attack.
Sorry.
Unexpected dog attack. I think one of the best things going at the moment is Billie Kay's resume thing going on there. It must be about 10 pages by now, because everything's just been added to the resume. I
love it. I love it so much. And I think I love it more because when they split up, everyone was like, Peyton's going to, be skyrocketed to the moon. They're going to give her a singles push. And I was all for that. I love her. And I'm like, awesome, do that singles push. But I was concerned that Billie would get left behind. And for me, I always loved Billie that little bit more. And like, I love them both, but like, character wise and really drawing me in and giving me something interesting to watch, I always felt like Billie just gave that little bit extra. So I was worried. And then now to see her shining, even though, she's not getting, match, like belt title shots and all of that, at least she's getting the spotlight and being able to show, how entertaining she is and how amazing she is. And I just love her so much. She makes me smile so much. I love it.
So basically what you're saying is Billie Kay is your favorite child and Peyton Royce
Yes.
is your stepchild. Okay, you heard it here first, people. We heard it here first. Savannah Summers likes one child more than the other one, so bear that in mind next time you see her.
Well, what can I say?
All right, we're gonna do some fantasy.
But yeah, I do agree. I think. Oh, you're frozen.
Yeah, I know. Everything goes well until it's 7 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, then everybody starts getting up and going to work. I'm going to do some fantasy booking with you. Okay, we've got the 90s, we've got the 2000s, we've got the 2010. So it's spanning 20 years. Okay, the top 5 matches Savannah Summers can have with any professional women's wrestler or any wrestler in general throughout those 20 years. 5 people. One from the 90s into the 2000s, one from 2000 to 2010, one from the current batch, a man, and then your ultimate fantasy booking.
Oh my God, I'm unprepared. You should have prepared me more.
Well, this is why it's called Off the Top Rope, Uncut, Uncensored, and Raw. It's not just a gimmick.
Right. Okay, I can do this. Okay, so from the 90s, I have to try to think when they're from. I think that I'll say Molly Holly, was she in the 90s?
We'll put it in the 90s. We'll put it. She came in like 98, 99.
Yeah, right at the end. At the end.
Okay. Molly Holly.
I'll go with Molly Holly. I love Molly. I think she's amazing, and I always feel like I would say she didn't get, the recognition she deserves, but I think she's in the Hall of Fame, so she probably has. Like, she's doing amazing. So I love her. I think she's great. I was gonna say, I definitely want to say Trish Stratus. So they're both sort of 90s and the noughties.
Both in their time.
Yeah, so I'll say Trish. Like, obviously she's, a legend and everyone loves her, but she's that girl that I watched and made me fall in love with wrestling and made me want to be a wrestler, and it would, my age or, around my age would feel the same way. Like, she's great. And I'm glad she still pops in and out now and then.
Right. Okay. Now the 2000 to the 2010, that's your, your AJ Lee's, your Michelle McCool's, the Bella Twins, Candice Michelle, Melina, that type of era.
Oh my gosh. Maybe Caitlin.
Okay.
You remember Caitlin?
Yes, Celeste Bonin, yeah.
Yeah. I like to go, I guess, for like the underdog a little bit more. But like, yeah, I love Caitlin. I thought she was good. She took a little bit of time to sort of take off, but then right near the end of her career, she really was at the top of her game and doing amazing. And when she came back even and she did the Mae Young Classic, that's the Caitlin I would love to wrestle. I think she'd be amazing. Yeah.
Okay, so 2010 to current time.
I was going to say, it sounds really bad, but I almost stopped watching wrestling for a bit in that sort of time. So it's really hard for me to pick someone from that era because I really didn't watch much like then. But but then I got back into it when all the Aussies started getting signed. So that was good.
Of course. Right.
And then we're
2010s to run about now.
Okay, so out of all the girls now, I would definitely say Shayna Baszler. I love Shayna. I don't know why. I just love her. Not so much since she's been on the main roster. I feel like they've sort of dimmed her light a little bit. But when she was in NXT and she held the belt, I really was just drawn to her. Like she seemed so authentic and real, and that's what I loved about her. It was like, there's no acting here. This is the way she is. She's a badass and she will kill you. And I love that. So awesome. I think I'd go Shayna.
All right. Male wrestler, fantasy booking, male wrestler. Let's have it all of all time. Of all time. Doesn't matter which era. Yeah, that Savannah, it's headlining Madison Square Garden or or the Adelaide Oval. Let's put it hometown advantage. It's at the Adelaide Oval in front of 100,000 fans. Main eventing Savannah Summers
Okay.
versus.
If it's of all time, I would say The Rock. I love The Rock. He was the man. He's the man that got me into wrestling. He's the first one I fell in love with. So I would go The Rock.
Okay.
Definitely.
All right.
Hands down.
Right. The last one. Now, we mentioned The Rock. We mentioned some of the ladies and things like that. What would be the one match? If somebody had to look at Savannah Summers from when you started to now, what would be the one match which you would say, okay, this is what I'm all about, watch this match?
Oh, it's really hard because I feel like, I don't know, I feel like I've never really been set up in a good way where I've been able to really put my everything on the line. And usually when that happens, it's a stipulation match. And then that really doesn't show your wrestling side of things. I would say there's probably one with Rhea Ripley from Riot City Wrestling for the women's belt. It's not a stipulation match. It was just for the belt. And I think that it probably stands out as one of like my best matches that I really put everything into, and without it being a stipulation match. You know, it was it was good. It was a good one. So I don't know if that's online or not, but it was good.
All right. Okay. The one thing you hate about professional wrestling, be it whatever it may be, what's the one thing that really, really irks you about professional wrestling?
The one thing I probably really hate is I don't know how to say it. Like people's I'll try to just explain it because I don't know how to say it in like just a few words. So like when people have opinions on women's wrestling in the sense that like it's bad to be called women's wrestling, or it's bad that it's being separated. Like a lot of people make a big deal like it's just wrestling, it's not different. And it really bothers me because I don't understand why it has to be such a big deal. Like I just love wrestling. I love wrestling for wrestling. And if people want to call it women's wrestling when I wrestle, I don't care. You do you, whatever you want to do. And when people get angry at me because I'm like, women's match, or I say something like that, it's like, I'm not bringing women down because I call it the women's match, or I'm intergender match or whatever. I'm just being me and just saying what I want to say. It's got nothing to do with offending anybody or keeping women back. And it bothers me that it's like, unless you're in this group and you support things this particular way, then you are bringing everyone down or you're doing the wrong thing. And I just am like, just let everyone do what they want to do and just be happy. Like, I don't get why we all have to, you know, fit into these little molds to make everybody else happy. You know, to me, I just love wrestling and I'm going to keep wrestling because it makes me happy. And you can call it whatever the damn hell you want to call it. I'm a wrestler. I'm a woman's wrestler, whatever. I just love it and I don't care.
All right.
That makes sense?
It does absolutely make sense. Savannah, I want to thank you very much for your time. We're done. Just last thing, I know that in your private capacity, you are a nurse, so we understand it in the current pandemic times. We want to thank you very much for being on the front lines there and helping out as many people as you can. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a treat. The Princess of Australia, Savannah Summers. Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. I hope I can come back again soon. Kisses to you all.